I would say sometimes words alone can be difficult to express who we are.
Yeah.
Because if I can only use words, it will be really, really hard to express my thoughts, my emotions. As a human being, as a therapist, if I haven't go deep down enough, if I haven't go to a certain depth, I can't help the other clients as well. In order for me to be a better therapist, I must go deeper first.
The human connection, right? A therapist can have 10 different titles and can have 2 or 3 or 4 decades of experience. But if this therapist is not able to connect with you on a human level, it's very hard to feel safe enough to pour yourself out to the therapist. I think one of the things that I appreciate is if the therapist believes in the natural healer within me. When the therapist believes that I have the inner wisdom within me, that I can find my way around, and that the therapist is just there to guide me or to show me where the light is.
Aloha, dear friends.
I'm Vivian, a board-certified music therapist in Canada and US, faculty at Chulalongkorn University, and the current president of the World Federation of Music Therapy.
And I'm Jerome, a certified forest therapy guide, mindfulness yoga and sound healing practitioner, and mental health advocate. And together, we're the co-founders of Sacred Space Therapy and Wellness and your hosts for our podcast, Echoes Among Trees, Reclaiming Our Inner Voice.
We hope you'll be able to take away something from our conversations about mental health and just about being human. Together, we hope to create a kinder world and to walk each other home. Thank you for listening.
Aloha and welcome to our podcast, Echoes Among Trees, Reclaiming Our Inner Voice. I am your co host, Jerome, a forest therapy guide,
I'm Vivian, music therapist.
and today we are going to talk about something that probably a lot of people might wonder, and it's about therapy. And in general, is therapy right for me? And how do I choose a therapist? And today we have a very special guest.
So this is Mr. Hugo Wong. Registered music therapist, and he's also the chairman of the Hong Kong Music Therapy Association. Welcome, Hugo.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Jerome. Thank you, Vivian.
Yes. So that was a very beautiful introduction that we had, a musical introduction. I think it really illustrates or communicates, conveys the communicative power of
Mm,
music and how it can really bring people together.
mm,
And, this is one of the first times you've met Jerome. And of course, we've known each other for a while already. But just being in music, when we're in music, it's almost like we're sharing this communal space that where we can
absolutely.
really enjoy without words each other's company. And so here we are today talking about therapy in general, but of course, both you and I are music therapists. And so, of course, music therapy is inevitably going to be a part of our conversation.
Yeah.
But before we kind of dive into or helping our audience know a little bit more about what music therapy is, maybe if you wouldn't mind sharing with us your own journey to how did you find your way to music therapy and what your own journey to therapy was like or is like, and what is therapy to you?
Sure. And I think it's a very important question. So thank you for starting
Yeah.
from here. So I actually wanted to study music therapy like when I was in year 10, like in secondary 4 or 5, around that
Yeah.
age. I was rebellious. I was quite determined I have to do something with music, but I don't know what is available because I am quite clear I don't want to be a performer.
Mm.
I don't want to be a music teacher. um, I get to know more afterwards when I'm in therapy. But so that's how I started when I get into a music degree in Hong Kong. And there was a point where I got stressed, really stressed out. And so I really had music therapy myself. And that's where I really started my therapy journey. And it was final year. I was busy with the coursework, of course. I was fortunate to be able to shadow different music therapists at that time to gain more music therapy experience, get to know it before applying for a master degree. And so, um, up to a point, I feel like, oh, it's so much stress and I can't find a way out. And that's where I experience what is music therapy like myself as a client. And then afterwards, when I go to UK to study music therapy, it's a must. So in order to graduate, we have to have like a certain number of sessions, which I'm fine with because I choose the psychodynamic way of psychodynamic approach. And so I know that it will be part of the prerequisite. And so I'm fine with that. And so that's from when I have an issue into like, okay, it's part of the graduation requirement. So here we go and look into like during the placement, all the not enoughness, the failure, or everything like we can experience in therapy during the course. I bring to it, and of course, it's the frequency is about once a week. So I'll kind of explore some of the relationship with my family as well. So that's how I started.
And then, as far as I understand, you're also still going into therapy sessions. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm not sure currently. I am still trying to get to know what's the difference between therapy and analysis. Like
Right.
it's a little bit more going into like the mystical part.
Right.
I probably wouldn't be able to give you a definite answer what's the difference between that. But yeah, I do see an analyst now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you talked about psychodynamic approach, and right now you're talking about seeing an analyst. So I think for the audience who are not quite sure what these terms mean, would you like to kind of elaborate a little bit more?
Sure. And so when we're talking about psychodynamic way of practice, we look into how the family, like the original family stuff, may affect myself,
Mm-hmm,
and really looking into what the projection that I usually project towards on
mm-hmm,
others. For
mm-hmm,
example, when I see someone in an argument and someone is avoiding conflict,
mm,
and probably I will project like, oh, myself, I probably, when I was young, that's how I learned. When
mm,
there's an argument, I try to avoid it. And now coming to step back a little bit, and
mm,
do I really want that? Is that really me? Or am
mm,
I learned in forced to be learned in this way? So
mm,
I would say psychodynamic in the precise, one of the examples can be like that, looking
mm,
into the self and how it impacts
mm,
me.
mm-hmm, mm.
and
Sorry.
and I guess in analysis, I'm seeing a Jungian analyst. So
Mm-hmm,
for audience, Jung stands for Carl Gustav Jung, the famous psychoanalyst or analytical psychology
mm-hmm,
founder.
mm-hmm,
How we look into different deeper, our unconscious, what the collective is. I don't want to throw too much jargon, otherwise no one will understand what is Hugo talking about. But I'm trying to be as layman as possible.
Yes, yes.
Basically, looking into what are the synchronicities back in life. Like, oh, there's some mystical. If I have a dream, and
Mm.
oh, actually, it says something in daily life,
Mm.
and how
Mm.
how I perceive it. Can I be open about it?
Mm.
Rather
Mhm.
than, okay, this is something terrible, I had a nightmare, I'm going to avoid it. Like,
Mm.
so it's more like really being open to what I have, being more aware, welcoming all the good parts and of course the challenging parts in
Mhm.
life.
Mm. Thank you. Hugo, it sounds to me that you also practice in the psychodynamic approach
Yeah.
and the analytic approach. And of course, music therapy also has other approaches like
Yeah.
the behavioral approach, and some work specifically in developmental psychology, where we use music therapy to help individuals in their developmental stages. And also, some of us work in rehab as
Hmm.
well as and also in palliative care. So, for those in the audience who know just very vaguely what music therapy is or have their own assumptions, would you like to kind of help our audience understand in layman terms what is music therapy?
I'll try my best. um, I would say sometimes words alone can be difficult to express who we are.
Yeah.
And I use myself as example because if I can only use words, it will be really really hard to say express my thoughts, my emotions, and
Mm.
how music can help me express, for example, anger, complicated emotions like anger, mixed sadness, and all these. And I think music is really a way out for me,
Mm.
and how music can bring the best version of me, which means I can express these difficult emotions without falling into the spiral. Like I am still regulated, but also expressing these difficult emotions. So I
Mm.
think one of the most impactful power of music is like that, and it can
Mm.
apply to all different populations. Like even people who are physically weak, they can still
Mm.
express it in such a way.
Music therapy really helps the individual to be in touch with themselves and to express themselves to whether it's to others or within the therapy space, so that there can be some sort of acknowledgement, some affirmation, some so that the inner self or the individual can be seen when otherwise maybe they find it hard to be acknowledged by others or validated.
Oh, thank you. That's a beautiful conclusion of what I said.
Thank you. So, as music therapists, we mostly use obviously musical instruments, music, and we bring our clients, our service users, into different musical experiences. May it be playing instruments like what we just did, or it can involve listening to music, so receptive form of music therapy, as well as sometimes we do songwriting and recreating like a particular song that our clients like. Now, do you, because I know some music therapists also incorporate other forms of art, maybe, or other sort of elements into their practice. Do you do that?
Oh, then I need to talk about my analytical music therapy training.
Please do.
So, my analytical music therapy, it takes me about around 7 years to finish. But I'm still seeing my analytical music therapy trainer, and I look music in a broadest possible way. And for example, if I hear a beat, I can't help moving my body. And although I'm not a dancer, I would see that as music as well as I move my body. I'm just using my body, my senses to feel what's the rhythm like. And that is also part of awareness and health. Like, okay, what's my rhythm like now currently? Am I nervous? Like it would be like shaking, or am I calm? And that is part of music. And if I listen to music, I may have visual, and it's an image, and to me it's still music. And that's how I broaden my senses and my world about music. So it's really hard to say, like, do I still use other modalities? I guess the short answer can be yes, but also to me it's also music. Maybe my world has expanded, so I am more aware of what music can be, rather than just instruments, just voice, but actually it can be more than that. And can I see that, pick that up from when I'm seeing clients, when I'm with the different people in the room.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious, as someone who is a therapist and have also been a client before, so you've been in both roles. I'm sure that the topic of stigma is not foreign to you, and when it comes to seeing a therapist, going to therapy, or needing to go see a therapist, and mental health, the stigma around it. Would you, because I think a lot of people think, oh, I just need to go and see, whenever I need to go and see a therapist, is because there's something wrong with me. Or I have an illness, or or something's broken within me, or something's horrendously wrong in my life. And I think you touched a little bit about, music therapy helped you through stress. It helped you through a very difficult and challenging time in life. But I guess maybe it's good for the audience to know.
Sure.
Do you have to be ill and something's drastically wrong with you in life to see a therapist?
There's a good question, but also quite a difficult answer, I guess, for myself. The first curiosity would be, if I think from a very pessimistic way, who hasn't got a problem in life?
Yeah.
Me? You? No? Okay.
We will definitely have uh, so-called problems, small ones, big ones.
Yes.
Maybe it affects our lives, maybe it doesn't. And so it all started in the beginning because I have a stress problem. I can't hold it, so I see a music therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Until when I'm studying my master's, because I'm studying a degree, so I need to graduate, so I see a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of like an extension, this is part of the training in the AMT prerequisite. So I need to
Mm-hmm.
see a therapy as a component. But also I go over the requirements because I know that I needed more rather than just meeting the numbers, ticking the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Like there
Mm-hmm.
are things I need to unblocked. And as a human being, as a therapist, if I haven't go deep down enough,
Mm-hmm.
if I haven't go to a certain depth, I can't help the other clients as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like when we find a scuba diving coach, and then the coach actually haven't dive that deep, and then, oh, can you help me? Can you guide me there? It's very hard.
Yes.
And so that is kind of like it. I understand it is hard, like, oh, I need to see a therapist because of my own view, because I've been there before. Like, in order for me to be a better therapist, I must go deeper first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's also a motivation for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like going deeper now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now my definition would be how therapy bring the best version of me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's not only for being a better therapist or a better human being, but how do I be a more resourceful or the best version of me?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. In such a fast-paced city, like such as Hong Kong, metropolitan city, I think uh, we're so busy with the day in day out routines and responsibilities and schedules and tasks that it's not very often that people would actually sit down and think about, well, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, do I like myself?
Mm.
Is this the best version of myself, like you were
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm.
I think a lot of times we're so busy that we don't get time to process things
Mm-hmm.
in the way that we need to in order to filter things, to work through some of the feelings, emotions, or blockages within our lives, or even relationship issues
Yeah.
that you've briefly mentioned about. So these are all very and also even about like what is my direction in life,
Yeah.
where like very existential questions.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's the business in Hong Kong, the fast pace, that sometimes really does not allow us to look at these very important questions and to kind of find some answers within ourselves. And so therapy is not like, oh, I need to go and see a therapist because I'm depressed or because I'm anxious. But I think for our personal development,
Mm-hmm.
for our own personal well-being and holistic health, it's essential.
Definitely. I mean, if for someone with like more, if I want to know more about myself, like therapy is really a necessity, or it's something crucial for us
Mm-hmm.
to go deeper.
Yeah.
Of course, it's also an investment.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to talk now about why a person would consider therapy and maybe what are some indicators that, well, maybe I should look into it. Uh, just sharing a little bit about my own personal therapy journey. Uh, After I had separated from my ex wife, I had gone through a period of just like feeling into the strong sense of shame and guilt, and it took quite a while for me to kind of shift and reframe everything. Eventually, I was able to match up with a therapist. Yeah, but for me, it was just this curiosity. Like, I know there's something in here that I want to touch. I just don't know how. But I guess for others, uh, they're probably wondering, and maybe they are scared of the stigma, like around therapy. Like, I don't really want to sound like a crazy person. I don't want to sound like there's something deeply wrong with me, but I also feel like I need help.
Mm.
So, uh, what are some indicators that maybe you might want to consider therapy, or um, how would you go about accessing therapy?
Thank you. I think it's also a very, all the questions you ask are very thought provoking, that worth thinking, even in daily life. Um, I was thinking about Jung when you asked these questions,
Mm.
when he had this breakdown.
Mm.
So in Jung's diary or his journey was up to at the age of 40, he's resourceful. He was resourceful, and the fame, money, everything. He's pretty well established,
Mm-hmm.
and at that time, it seems all these desire doesn't match, can't satisfy him anymore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's when he starts to search the depth of the soul. What's the meaning?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that can be one of the transitional stages where more people really look into in-depth oriented work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can't say I'm there yet. Like, I'm definitely not financially well off, or
Mhm.
I guess because I study therapy, I seem to enter this stage a bit earlier
Mm.
without having this, because I am financially stable or something like that, and that's why I go to seek deeper. But because I want to be a better human being, I want to be the better version of me, and that's why I go towards that. So for me, during the journey that I mentioned, from there's a need, there's a problem, until because it's a requirement, until okay, now I'm just trying to be the better, trying to be curious about life. How can I explore more
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in just simple daily life?
Mm-hmm.
Keeping the youth energy, the livelier energy in me. And I think I would say that's my search for now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the age of 32, nearly 33, I think compared to middle age crisis, like I am a little bit earlier.
Early.
uh, but I know that it's also maybe unfortunate. I've gone through all this therapy journey, like keeping in touch who I am, keeping in touch with the spirituality within myself. How is it like for me, and how am I related to the world? And so um, that's how I see how therapy can affect me.
Yeah, so you talked about different entry points into therapy. So you talked about one where, yeah, there's like an immediate like trauma
Yeah.
that you are looking to help with because it's probably too much for yourself to handle. Uh, and then once you come out of that, maybe you are starting to search a little bit more, like, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
And once you've come out of that thing, like, you're a different person, and like, where am I actually heading? and therapy can help you to actually pave a little bit path forward from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are many different avenues towards where therapy can actually be a really beneficial, a great resource. Yeah. Uh, there, as you guys talked about earlier, you were talking about psychoanalytic, analytical. I don't even know if we touched on GIM yet. But
Yeah.
there are many different types of therapies. And as a person that might be new to therapy and maybe wanting to explore different avenues, or maybe they've tried talk therapy and it's like it's not really jiving for me. Um, how can they, what would be something, ways for a person to kind of hone in on a therapy for them that might fit?
And of course, in the 2020s, this decade, we have a lot of therapy merging, kind of developing and getting more broader now. And I think music is a very powerful way that can fit in every aspect. And of course, I'm not forcing everyone to see a music therapist, but like you can choose something that kind of feel that fits in. For example, music can help using words, can, like singing a song with lyrics, but also just humming, or maybe using instruments, or even just listening to music. If you listen to music with eyes closed, but maybe just listening to some sounds. That can give you some kind of imagery. How is it like? How's the body? What's the body telling you? The embodiment. And so that's already a different layer. Sometimes we don't need to talk, or I don't need to know the client's detail. It can be irrelevant to what the core theme could be.
Mm. So, what I'm gathering is that there are many different layers for a person to consider in terms of, well, uh, I'm at this stage in my life, or maybe this just happened to me. I am unsure about traditional therapy, but then there are other ways of going about this.
Yeah.
And music is definitely one of them that, if, especially when it comes to language, and language can be very hard and actually provide a barrier towards you discovering yourself. But music can help to connect you to yourself.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely other ways to therapy, and music therapy is one to consider. Um, we have two music therapists here in this room, and perhaps another big decision that people have when it comes to therapy is choosing the therapist.
Right.
Yeah,
I think that's
and
more important than
Yes.
which type of therapy.
right.
Yes,
Yes, and
definitely.
so you've gone through this thing where I feel like I need therapy. You're probably gonna go onto Google and search like therapy, and then you come up with a list of faces and names and like, oh, like they're qualified for this and that. But I'm still feeling very lost, like, how do I know I want to work with Hugo or Vivian? It's a really big choice. And some people feel like the one person that you're going to go with, you're stuck with. But so the question is, how do we go about selecting the therapist? And what should it be some of the important factors when choosing, and maybe as you start your relationship with a therapist?
Sure. And I will start from my personal experience. Um, I mean, from different stages, I had different therapists, and I think one of the important factors would be how open is the therapist, and is he or she welcoming different projections, or really curious with the client. And that is really helpful for me to bring in for example, the shadow work into the session, because it's not like going to spa that guarantee making you with a happy smile to end. Like sometimes it can be brutal. Like I'm
Yes.
really touching the deepest wound in
Yes.
myself, and can the therapist take that? Will
Mm.
he or she not abandoning this part of me?
Mm.
And can I let this wound to be seen in light
Mm.
without getting hurt, without being crushed? And I
Without
think that
judgment.
is really important. But of course, we can't know whether this therapist is like that until we have the first session.
Yes.
And if I say this probably may not do music therapy good, but I think it's really about the therapist rather than which type of therapist. If you see the first session, it can be music therapist, it can be other creative arts therapist, it can be analyst or any sort of different therapy. But it's really about the relationship that we make with the therapist rather than what kind of training that he has. I mean, he can have like 10 different kind of training, but like it's still not matched. Not saying he or she is not good, but rather he or she is suitable. It's just like making a friend. Like we can't be suitable to matching with every single person. And I really like the quote my teacher once mentioned, like, there are many people who are good at communicating or making a good relationship, but there's no one able to say, okay, this is the first appointment that we see. Or if you imagine yourself going to a bar, you can't just write a book. So the first time you see a pretty girl, like, you can do this, and then on the 10th session, you can hold her hand. Like, it's impossible. Yeah, because it's really dynamic.
Yeah.
And that's how beautiful and challenging relationships are.
Yeah.
So I would really recommend audience to really try out. I know in Hong Kong there are many different therapists, workshops, consultation sessions, or there are a lot of ways to really reach out to have a try and see, okay, is he or she the right fit for me?
Yeah. I think you really touch on a very important point. It's the human connection, right? It doesn't. I fully resonate with you about this a person. A therapist can have 10 different titles and can have 2 or 3 or 4 decades of experience. But if this therapist is not able to connect with you on a human level, it's very hard to feel safe enough to pour yourself out to the therapist, feeling like you're not being judged, feel like you're not being that person is not here to tell you what to do. But for me, having been as a client as well in therapy, I think one of the things that I appreciate is if the therapist believes in the natural healer within me. When the therapist believes that I have the inner wisdom within me, that I can find my way around, and that the therapist is just there to guide me or to show me where the light is, or to walk me there, walk me home, like, I think that is the therapist that I feel works best for me, because I'm not I think even on Google, there's like a lot of information and resources that can tell you what to do when you feel this way, what you can do to help you cope with this and whatnot. And I think seeing a therapist, there's the added relational element to it. It's not just here are some resources, I suggest you do this and you do 10 million different resources here. But having that connection is it's not just showing me where the path is, but it's the sense of being empowered.
And I do have, since Vivian, you mentioned about this, I want to share something. Some of my clients say like, oh, I actually do frequent self-talks with AI. So
Right.
like, I asked an AI, like, if I have a situation like this, what should I do?
Right.
And that can probably be one way of a relationship as well. I don't want to say this, but I think I have to admit it's true. Um, and I was thinking, what does AI bring in? What can AI bring that is beneficial, or what are the potential risks? And I would invite you to maybe can bring in some insight as well, since we are all talking about how AI helps us in life. So my my thoughts or my relationship about this is, it can gives in the kind of correct or what the collective or what the most popular way of how should we react or respond for a problem. But the autonomy is not it has to it has to it has to it has to process in real person therapy. I think that's my finding so far. I don't know, have you come across with something like this?
Gosh, I feel like you're gonna open Pandora's box here. I feel that more and more people are turning towards AI. Probably one, because it's accessible. Maybe you're talking about teens or people Gen Z.
Yeah.
They're born or they basically grew up with technology and they're used to having instant gratification.
Yeah.
And so when you find out that AI is tailored to answer you in the way that you want them to tell you, like, of course you're going to go back to AI because it's telling you exactly what you want to hear. I do also feel that it's a bit scary, but I get it. If you don't have the resources to see a therapist because it's very much a privilege, then yeah, I guess AI is going to help you somehow. Yet I believe that the more that we are connected to our device, the further away from humanity we get.
Yeah. And
Yeah, go ahead.
and I really want to echo that is the most valuable of therapy is really be in touch with another person. Like we talked about the concept of transference and counter-transferences, which is how a client project their emotions into a therapist. For example, I was being projected as a good enough father, and you can't do it with AI because it's not a real person, and the real person can't share the emotions that they embodied. And I think that's the really valuable stuff that can't be taken away.
Yeah. And there's this reciprocal element in a relationship where, you talked about transference and countertransfers. When you are being projected as the good enough father, I think you as a therapist, what you give back is not something that an AI can offer, right? And as well as empathy. It's also reciprocal in the sense that when one shows empathy, it teaches the other too
Mm-hmm.
to give empathy as well.
Yeah.
And these human elements is something that I definitely find that AI is not it's not like AI doesn't talk about feelings and emotions, but not in a way that a human can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the last thought that I'll share about AI. I also feel like because of how our environment is right now, I think that a lot of people have mistrust with people.
Uh-huh.
And so I would rather talk to my AI that's going to keep me in my bubble
Mm-hmm.
versus talk to another person where I already have this mistrust because this world is crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will say that as we're talking about this, I know there's probably some people that are working within AI to say like, well, wait a second, please come over here and let's talk.
Yeah.
Also, we have been meeting with other organizations because we talk about therapy as what do you call it? What did I say it was? It's a privilege. Yet there are organizations out there that understand this and they're offering counseling for very low prices or like in a way that meets your needs. So if you really need it, there are organizations that exist out there that can help. Yeah.
But speaking of mistrust, I definitely see how the world is revolving nowadays and how it's so different from like 30, 40 years ago. That's probably beyond your time. But I think like in many different parts of the world, I always hear, oh, uh, things used to be simpler. People used to be simpler. Uh, People used to be more for a lack of better word, naive, but I think more trusting. There used to be a more trusting environment. So coming into therapy, it takes a lot of courage. That's number one. And you're, about to meet someone that you will potentially be pouring your heart out to,
Yeah.
but you don't know this person and it takes a while and, to kind of develop that trust. So what would you say, as a therapist, how do you create that safe space? I guess just for the audience to know, like, what kind of space are they entering? How do we as therapists create, or at least do our best to create that safe space for them, so that, um, I, I, so that there is a fertile ground for the work that we can do.
The first thing that comes to my mind is curiosity. Like I'm really curious about the person in front of me, like meeting a friend, like meeting someone. I really want to know about him or her, if he or she is ready. And if not, what can I do to make it safe enough? And that, since we talked about trust, mistrust, and I think in this era, it's an opportunity to really bring into the world what makes it so precious, or what is the chance that we can trust someone, is a double blade. I may evade it just into my own bubble, or I take risks to really look into how I can trust someone. For example, in some of the deep work that I do with some of the clients, I am I hold a projection of the perpetrator. Like I hold some of the features of harming or abuser, and how can we contain it in the room. And the deeper we work, the more possibility of really looking into what the therapist can hold. And it's only that space and that we can hold safe enough for the client, so they can just put down whatever they want to put in, and then just leave the room and do not need to. They know that they have a space that they can put whatever they want to put, and that's also um, showing the trust. So curiosity is the first word, and then I think that's already the big part. And then the second would be the consistency that I try to be available. I do my own work. I make sure that I am grounded before I go into the therapy room that I serve. So I would say these two parts are the best that I can do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I guess leading into that, once there is a safe space and a relationship is being fostered, what do you think are the mechanisms that drive positive change in therapy?
As I mentioned just now, I think being welcomed, like if I bring in the vulnerable part, it won't be seen as shame. So I still remember when I was in analytical music therapy training, where my first trainer suddenly passed away.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sorrow, that brings in a lot of shame as well. Like, and how can that be contained and not seen as someone who is bad? And that really helped me to relate that if I bring the shame into the session, and that is okay. It's kind of like, oh, am I ill? But actually, it's just how we are, because everyone can experience really terrible moments.
Yes.
And actually, we don't want to. It's just come.
Of course.
Like, who wants trauma? Like, give me more. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
how can we be open enough? I think that's the modeling, and that really, after that, we have this so-called post-traumatic growth, and that's the drive that have this positive change.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think adding to that, I would quote Carl Rogers, positive unconditional regard for people. Yeah, I do hold that very dear in my heart as in my own, when I do therapy with my clients, I think that is a very important element in the
Definitely.
relationship, in the human connection.
Yeah.
That and I understand that in a therapy setting, like it is inevitable that there is a power dynamic. There is the therapist and there is the client. But at the same time, I think me as a therapist, the best that I can do to try to balance that power dynamic out, or to kind of pull the gap a little bit closer, is to hold that regard for my clients. And as I was saying, my approach is really to walk each other home, and to see each other as a fellow traveler, as we would call it in GIM, rather than a therapist who is the know better and the person with the answer kind of thing. I think that is not at least for me.
I agree totally.
Definitely not the kind of framework or the kind of relationship that I want to be in. Yeah.
Oh, I really want to echo that by therapists are not trying to play the role God, like,
No.
oh, we know everything. We are just being another human being,
Yes.
a soul touching another soul.
Exactly.
Yeah.
High five.
Okay, so we are actually nearing the end of our journey together. So we're going to move into this next part of our podcast, which we call mental notes. And it's just quick questions for you to answer.
Okay.
You don't have to elaborate much further, just like whatever comes to your heart, you'll share it. Yeah. So, this first question, a self care practice, author, or resource that has changed you.
So in GIM, I learned about a concept called self music and imagery. So I create a playlist on my own, and the music that I know then give me resources, and I listen to them. I kind of like do journaling. So that's like we call it SMI for short, and I usually introduce to other clients as well.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of millennials and Gen Zs that I've already created my Spotify, my list,
Yeah.
right? You know?
Yes.
But there's an added element to this.
Definitely, yeah. Like for the playlist, there can be different. Like maybe one playlist is for holding, one is for opening up. So it can be like different categories.
Thank you for sharing that. I think some of you guys are gonna potentially use that one. All right. Can you describe mental health in 3 words?
3 words. Wow. Be authentic.
Wow, that's 2 words.
We'll count that as
Open.
one, though.
Yeah. Okay. And open. All right. What was your personal takeaway from our conversation today?
Well, the first thing is definitely warmth. I can feel there's so much resonance as we talk, as we speak. It's always great to speak in the same channel, the same frequency, like if I can quote that. I think therapy is available for everyone.
Yes.
Not everyone is ready for it. But if the more you dive in, you realize it's something that we probably won't let go. So how can we make it more accessible? And that is something that inspired me as we talk through. And of course, a lot of good reminders. It's always good to hear the different wisdom from you about why am I doing this work? Why am I processing all the client work after all the sessions in the evening? And
Yes,
okay, that's worth it.
Yes, definitely. And I think like adding on a little bit to what you're saying, I think, you know, like you said, therapy may not, at least on the at the onset, like you may not feel like, is the therapy is the thing for me. Like maybe there's a lot of hesitation or a lot of apprehension in the beginning towards therapy, but and maybe a lot of people may question, well, why do I need to be a better self, part of myself, or why do I need self improvement, or but I think that, at least from my experience, I don't know about yours, but I think a lot of times more severe and dire mental health issues come from, I guess, ignored early signs, right? And when I say early, what are these early signs? I think that I think a lot of mental health issues come from misalignment within ourselves. Like, let's say we are so busy putting on a persona that we need to be in society, in our families, at work, for the title that we hold, that we've lost who we truly are inside. And that misalignment, I guess, how many people, busy people, or even like very well accomplished, high achieved, like Carl Jung, they've achieved a lot, but how many can say that they're truly happy within themselves, or that they're truly find this fulfillment within themselves and not feel like, oh, something is still missing. And the longer we go without addressing that, I think that that's when a lot of issues, may it be anxiety or may it be depression or may it be other mental health issues that will come up for them. And so I think that it's before those more severe problems come,
Yeah.
it's good to attend to our own mental health and our own well-being.
Building our stronger inner resources.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder for many of us, if you've been hearing a little voice inside of you and maybe you're kind of stuffing it down, listen to it. Something that you'd like to say to perhaps someone in the audience that might be struggling now with their mental health.
Right. We struggle all the time, but we don't have to put shame on it. With the right help, we can be authentic, we can be open, we can be creative, but we won't be destroyed.
Thank you, Hugo. If anybody wants to get into touch with you, Hugo, what's the best way to go about that?
Thank you. I have an Instagram account. My contact details is also in the association music therapist directory, so it's accessible in public. So Instagram is Hugo Wong MT. Yeah, I or through Vivian, I think they will contact me if they want.
Okay. Thank you. We are so grateful, Hugo, for sharing your therapy journey and also kind of how you see people can seek help for themselves as well, because there's a lot of things to consider, and we just want to help clarify a few things for people, because the journey of self-discovery is one that can be very murky in the beginning.
Yeah, it's absolutely a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes. So before we end, I do have this little bell. I would love to ring it just to signify that we're coming to the end of our journey.
Sure.
Thank you very much, everybody. Next month, we have another special guest. It's going to be Earth Day, and we're inviting a forest therapy trainer. She happened to be the one that trained me in this profession. Her name is Amanda Yick. Thank you very much. Thank you, Hugo.
Thank you, Jerome.
And wishing everybody light and aloha. Take care.
Bye.
Aloha, dear friends. April's going to be a very big month. We have International Music Therapy Week as well as Earth Day. Please check out our website as well as our socials for what we have in store for you all. Please don't forget to subscribe, and as always, big hugs, sharing light, and aloha.